I guess we'll just say this is presenter. Isn't this a great little application? Wait until you see it printed out. We'll call an audience member. Wow, I can't believe it's so cool, and it's even free. Okay, so as you can see, the dialog block knows to capitalize the name, it knows to drop itself down into an indented, constrained dialog block, and so on and so forth. The nifty thing is that this little program is going to keep a running tab on all of our all of the information that we've added so far. So if I hit D again, Alt D again here, it takes me down, asking me for the character name. I can hit the up arrow for presenter and get the presenter's name, and that works with slug lines as well. This running database works for dialogue, for character names, for slug lines, all kinds of different things that you might need to reuse. So I find in screenplays that you're doing by hand, I mean, any other screenwriting application is going to have that feature. It's not like this is a big exciting feature. In fact, some others do it a lot more dynamically than this, but if you're trying to do it by hand and just saying, oh, I'm not going to bother with those screenplay applications at all, then trying to remember exactly what you called a certain character, or trying to remember exactly what you called a certain location sometimes gets a little bit tricky. So having a little running database reminding you that you didn't call the person audience, you called them audience member, helps a lot. Okay, so if you're finished the scene, then the next step would be to save it somewhere, and of course it already exists. That's kind of one nice thing, one of the many nice things about Emacs is that when you start a file, it creates that file for you on the hard drive. So by the time you're already typing, that file already exists, and you're just putting all your data into a container. Because you know how sometimes if you're in a word processor or whatever, you're typing all day, you forget you haven't saved once yet, and you go to save and it's like untitled document, and there's just no record of that at all. Emacs has a really nice autosave feature, just keeps updating that file. It's really nice. It saved me, you know, I mean, hours and hours of work sometimes. So and it even does that like over a network. It's pretty an amazing application. So really all we have to do to commit this to disk is hit save, which again you kind of can tell from the icons up here. You can use those if you want, or obviously you can go out to the file menu. There's save. Okay, so this exists now. This is 01.scp. Now if we wanted to start the second screenplay, the second scene, we would create a new file. We would call it 02.scp, and we would continue along this path. You don't have to do it that way. I'm just saying that that is how I do it. So let's take a look really quick at the way that I organize the screenplays that I do, because I think it works pretty nicely. So we'll step out of Emacs for a moment for this, not into Firefox though. Get some files up here. So here's a screenplay presentation, yeah. Okay, so here's a whole bunch of SCP files, and that's because they are screenwriting documents. Don't really want to do that. One thing about using the .scp extension is that your operating system, like whether it's Linux or Mac or Windows, doesn't know what to do with a .scp file. That's something that I made up. You might want to use the .txt extension, because every operating system knows what to do with the .txt extension. You don't have to use the .scp one. On my real computer, this is obviously a fresh install of Fedora Linux because I didn't want to start with something that I'd already tweaked, exactly how I use it, because then you're going to think that that's exactly how it's going to always work. Again, it's very flexible, so you can kind of do it however you want. The .txt extension is something that's already programmed into your computer. You might want to use that instead. I use the .scp. I tell my desktop, hey, anytime I open a .scp, open it in Emacs without asking me, and drop me into the screenplay mode and stuff like that. So .txt will work too, and that's kind of one of the many, many beauties of using Screenwriter Mode, is that you're working in plain text. You're not working in a proprietary format that you might not be able to open if you don't pay the correct amount of money to the correct company, or if you're on a computer somewhere that hasn't installed Screenplay Mode, much less Celtics or one of the proprietary software applications for screenwriting, and you need to make a change. Guess what? You can do that. You don't absolutely have to use Emacs in Screenwriter Mode. You can do it in any old text editor, in any word processor, anything that reads plain text. So that's a really, really powerful feature that, again, has kind of saved me a lot of heartache and a lot of trouble over time already. Even when I was using Celtics, which, I don't mean to keep taking away from Celtics. It's a nifty little project, and it's very traditional and very attractive, but their file formats are a little bit obtuse. And yes, you can get in there, you can change them manually. It's not easy. This one is as easy as opening it in TextEdit or Notepad or whatever it's called on Windows, and you can just change the stuff. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be in anything special. It's plain text. So that's really, really powerful. Also means it's really, really small. It's also very easy to back up and all that other good stuff. So there's nothing quite like plain text on a computer. Just every computer likes plain text. It's kind of their lingua franca. So this is 02.scp. Not really anything to say about it. I was just demonstrating that it exists, that you can organize your screenplay this way. So in a full 90-page screenplay, as you can see, I have about 44 scenes in this work, and the advantage to this, again, is that if I ever decide that I don't really want to open with scene 1. And you've seen this trick a lot, right? When you watch a movie that opens at the end and then it kind of flashes back, it says 3 hours earlier, and then it shows you like what happens and how they got there and all that other good stuff. So that happens all the time. It's not that rare.